am so excited to interview Robert Gene Smith, not only because he totally changed my life. Like I didn't know the basic thing about emotions and how I actually am creating a whole outcome for myself based on my own thoughts. And I certainly didn't know what to do about them. So if you're feeling a little bit lost, like, what do I do with all this anger? I don't know how to not be angry. It's their fault. Like, what if everyone else is always treating me this way and I just have bad luck? This is your day to learn something amazing, right, Robert?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So thank you for joining me, Robert Gene Smith. He is the founder of FasterEFT and eutaptics, brilliantly put together NLP, hypnosis, and tapping into a form that is understandable and logical. And it made so much sense to me that as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, no wonder why, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So tell us first, why do people get angry?
Well, anger has many different angles of producing. Generally, if you just say anger, I'm angry because you're violating my rules. You're doing something I don't want you to do, or you're angry. And anger is a self-induced program. So it comes from many places. One, you're angry because you grew up in an environment that trained you to be angry. You got a pissed off parents, your brother's angry at you. And so we actually learn how to produce whatever it is that you produce. So if you, and then it's sometimes, anger is a self-protective program. It's a survival system based on what it is that you have within you. So people are truly justified in their anger because of their programming.
Right.
So we learn to create our belief systems and anger towards ourselves, anger towards anybody. And again, it's usually mirrored by other angry people. So we just almost like a robot, really.
Right. And how do you know that? Because you said self-induced, and then you're saying we're just reproducing it. Like, how do you actually know that that is what happens to us?
Well, again, if you understand the simplicity of the mind and how the brain works, outside of any theories of why we have problems, all this stuff, you have a natural operating system. It's called the limbic system, which is the brain operating system. And so it captures, and you learn to have a certain set of rules. You learn how to act in certain ways because you have people you watch and witness who act angry or happy or whatever it is. And so it becomes a survival skill written on the cortices of the mind. And so with this information, now you have a code of action. And again, you're angry about something. And so if you break it down, you're angry because, one, you want to protect yourself, you feel violated, or you just don't like what people do. But it's generated from memories, generated from internal representations. And sometimes it's a repeating pattern that, again, like you've learned, I mean, some kids are just angry and upset and they just don't like things, I don't know, I'm the oldest, but are you the oldest in your family? Yeah. So it won't work with us, but let's say because we're probably the one who's guilty, right? But usually, like if you have the oldest child and then another child comes in, born after you, a lot of times children, the older ones, are angry because of this other one took your place. So why would they be angry? Well, one, now they're no longer important. They feel like the other child's more important. There's jealousy, there's envy, and you want to end it or get even, or you're just frustrated, and then you take it out on the other sibling. Now, this happens a lot. You can also grow up watching and listening to people who are angry about their job, or angry about the weather, or angry about the politics.
Right.
As a child, we learn this, and we create what you call a value system, an identity, and an operating program. And then you just do it and not even know why you do it. You just do it and you think it's normal. So this is how it actually works,
Right. So do you have any examples of, like, we call them triggers. A lot of people that are angry are like, I was triggered. I was triggered. Do you have any examples that show how a trigger could be linked to a memory?
Well, oh, you know,
You always have some great stories.
well, when this comes to mind, it reminds me, I work with a lot of people, you
Right.
know, and there's a video on YouTube. Actually, I was in The Hague in Holland or the Netherlands, and this woman comes up and she's fully justified in being angry into abusing her husband. Really, really torment this poor innocent man. And yet you ask why. He says, because he deserves it. I said, okay, why does he deserve this? Well, come to find out, she's actually acting from a belief system that she learned and how her dad acted. So now she's taking on the dad's role, even though she's the woman, and she's also giving to what it is that she feels inside of herself. So again, it's really about self. It's about our own emotional traumas, our own emotional fears, and our own emotional issues. So there's lots of things, you know, you're angry. Why are you angry? What is the reason behind your anger? And there's a self-protective reason, you know, like, why would you hate something? I hate blank, whatever this is. Well, the reason why you hate it and you're angry because of it. And anger usually wants people to join them, you know,
Yes.
Join me in my mission. I hate whatever this is, you know, and so they create and smear this thing around, you know. It's kind of bizarre, but that's just how it works. And then they put emotions in it, you know. It's like, you know, because I'm on a ranch now. I have, you know, like 20, 30, let's say 30 cows. Never had cows before, never had anything like this. And so a lot of people, you know, let's say, well, why do you have cows? Well, because I like cows, you know, cows are cool. You know, you breed them, you raise them, and you eat them. And people go, oh my God, you're going to eat those cows. You're so evil. Why would you eat cows? You should eat carrots. And of course, you know, and so people, and they say, well, why do you have this feeling? Why do you have this anger towards people who eat meat? Well, there's a reason, because say they watch videos of horrible, scary stuff, or they give emotions to things. And then they vigilant, very vigilant, and they're angry because people aren't doing it their way, you know? So it's bizarre. So there's a lot of different things. Or they hate, you know, I'm from America and I'm from Oklahoma, and, you know, I go to Ireland, and of course we got the Protestants and the Catholics, and one hates the other, you know, they'll kill each other. And it's over political. And why did they do that? Well, they go back and they remember that something happened to my dad from a Protestant or from the Catholic side. And so they created what do you call it, an emotional justification for me being mean, you know, and that's what people do. And you look at, like, I'm from America, you know, of course, the English came to America, and of course they have Native Americans here. Now, of course, they're Christians, but they see these Native Americans as heathens. They don't even have a soul. And so to them, to justify killing them, because they, in their mind, they belittle them and make them small. Now, that's just not, you know, it's every continent. The natives are destroyed because other people belittle them and justify them within themselves. So they hate destroys not only the one who produces it, but also the one who receives it, you know. So you take a wife or a husband angry or towards her husband or wife, it's an endless miserable loop that we pass down to our children. So there's a lot of bizarreness to hate and anger and frustration, and everyone who hates has a justification within their own mind, based on their own personal references and experiences.
And why hold on to that justification? Like, what benefit is it that somebody would keep doing that?
Well, it's very simple. It's survival. Pain drives it in survival. You know, you take someone who will kill somebody over a pack of cigarettes. Why would they do that? Or why they kill someone because of the wrong color or the wrong religion? Because in their mind, they justify it. And, you know, there's groups that are, why would a group meet together and it's, I hate my husband group, or I hate men group, or I don't like whatever it is. It's an emotional justification and a linking to family and connections, you know. And logically, we know it harms us, but we still do that.
Yes.
And it's like your own self-esteem. You look in a mirror and you curse yourself. You're like, God, you're so ugly. I hate my wrinkles. You're fat. You're this, you're that. And that's a self-cursing. And logically, we know it hurts us, but you still do that. And why do you do that? Because of experiences and emotional trainings.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask. Like, we know it's bad for us. Like, we lose our spouse, we lose our family, we lose our job over this anger, but we can't stop.
Yeah.
We don't
Well,
think we can stop.
but you don't know how to stop.
Right.
Really. I mean, it's about emotional intelligence. And then if you release the emotional hurts and the reason why you hate something, or the reason why you fear something, or the reason why you dislike something, if you release it. Now, the reason why people hold on to it, because it is survival. It's an identity, it's a value system, it's a family connection, it's a group connection, you know. And again, you want to be a good member of the family, or you a good citizen of the I'm angry group, you know.
Right. So
But,
it's really about belonging, kind of.
well, there's a belonging there, but it's almost like the thermostat on the wall. Like, say, for example, you're coming from an angry family and you have that level of anger is right here. It's what you're comfortable with. And let's say you go to and you meet another person or another group and their anger level is much higher than yours. Either one of two things: either you'll improve your anger or make it stronger, or you'll say, they're a little bit intense, I want to go back to my normal anger, you know. And of course, if it's lower anger, it says it just doesn't feel comfortable. I got to find my people. And that's the bizarreness, is like relationships, you know. If you raised up an environment and you had a certain type of relationship, like, say, for Kathy, for one, she was abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, sexually abused, and then she left. And of course, the abuser was, you know, a stepfather. And then she gets into a relationship, she'll probably find another abuser so that she feels normal. But if she finds someone like her husband she married, he wasn't abusive, it was non-abusive. Guess who had to be abusive?
Her.
She was. So now he becomes the little victim, her, and now she's the abusive one. So there's a flip-flop. But once you change the hurt, the anger, the frustration, the abandonments, whatever's there,
Yep.
then your thermostat on the wall will adjust to a healthier environment.
Right.
But you can't change it unless you change what causes it, which is memory.
Yes. And I remember first hearing that it's your memories. And for a while I was like, but what is it that's bothering me? Like, I wasn't sure. I knew that there was a major memory that was bothering me. But I had no idea that it was impacting me presently, except I think you said something about what you're repeating in your own mind, you're doing to yourself.
Right.
And that's when I was like, oh, my memory is over, but I'm the one repeating this. So tell us, how do these memories influence us? And of course, what we can do about it.
Well, it goes back to survival and homeostasis. That means your balance in your life. And what happens is we have experiences, and of course, the limbic system, the operating system of your whole system, captures this information, organizes it in your cortices, and now you build your self-esteem. Now, self-esteems come from your esteeming self, which means if you have memories of being abused or being put down and belittled, you will use that to esteem yourself. And then you're going to go on the outside, try to do things outside to try to boost your esteem up. But this inner programming wins,
Right.
because you're trying to do it outside and not changing the inside. So if you change the memories on the inside, you change it. So some major rules that I created about memory. First of all memories inside your head is not real today.
Right.
It's just written information on the cells of your mind. Memories are not stuck real and permanent. They're always being adjusted, and you can turn them into bad, make them worse, or you can take a good one, turn it into bad, take a bad one, turn it into good, if you're skillful. So memories are very malleable, and the brain naturally updates memories all the time. Its purpose is for survival, not actual fact. And so if you go and change a memory, you're not changing the past. You're changing what you hold in your mind, and you're changing what your mind will give back to you. That means your brain will recycle whatever you hold. So if you, just like the woman said, I just don't understand it. Why do I keep dating men who are abusive to me? And she said, I was never abused. She said, it didn't make any sense. I said, do you know anyone in your family or your life that was abused? She said, oh my God, I'd see it all the time, every day at home. My mother would abuse my brother, or my wife, my father abuses her wife, my mother. And so she watched it, and yet it went inside of her mind, and it became a program in who we are, how we are, and how you operate. So since she has the training, she's like going to the university of how to do, how to have a relationship.
Yeah.
It's encoded in your mind. And now you're going to look for someone to fit your world.
Right.
And the only way to get a better world is you got to change the memory. So another big thing that I really, really, really changed me. Now, again, my philosophy is I'm changing the world, starting with myself, because I got problems, I got to fix me. And then whatever I learn and whatever I do to me, I'm going to share with you. And that's my whole philosophy. I'm going to change me, and I'll share with what I've done, and hopefully you'll change you too. All right. So that's with it. So one of the biggest things that I really, really got, and it really hit home, and it's the foundation of all of our problems. And that is, every person in your memory is truly yourself. Because your parents cannot fit in your head. Your head's too small.
Say it again.
Every person inside your mind is yourself. And we go out and we want to change our parents. We want to change this. But the truth is, you need to change yourself. The law of attraction says you attract into your life what you hold, memories. Now, again, you take the law of attraction and you want to put something in. Guess what? This is not in. You want it in, but it's not in there. So what I'm saying is, go inside, change what's in there to what you want. And when you change memories, you're not changing the original event. You can't change something that doesn't exist. You're changing what your brain will use on you and use on other people. So go change all memories. And of course, you want to change your parents inside your head, because remember, those parents inside your head are not your parents. These are how to have a relationship, how to act, how to perform. So if you was physically, emotionally, or sexually traumatized, and you have the memory in your head, you're all actors and all players in the memory.
Yeah.
And it's over. It's not real today. Yes, it happened, but it's not true today. It's just Memorex. It's not real. Now, the problem is when you visit a memory, as you visit it, it seems real because you feel it.
Right.
And what we do is diffuse the emotions. We change the feelings, we change the pictures, and we turn it into what you'd rather have. So if you have a bad memory and you leave it bad, you're going to get again. It's going to happen again. If you take a memory and you rewrite the memory where it's positive, guess what you're going to get in the future? Whatever you rewrite it to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basic 101, how the brain works. A lot of people, because I studied everything, not just NLP, not just tapping, not just EFT, not just everything I could get my hands on, spirituality, you name it, everything, all kinds of modalities. And what I created is a logical, practical, easy to understand, mathematical life change. You do this, you get this. And of course, we talk about hypnosis. What is hypnosis? Of course, I'm coming from the Christian group. And of course, hypnosis is evil and you don't want people to control you. And that's true. But the problem is,
you want to be able to control yourself.
Exactly. And so that's, that's a big fear that people said, well, are you using hypnosis? I said, no. But again, what is hypnosis? And of course, my definition is hypnosis is your mind's great ability to imagine and to feel it's real now. Mm-hmm. So if you go back and visit a bad memory, you just put yourself in a bad hypnotic state.
Right.
If you go to a happy memory, and you remember a happy memory, as you remember it, you feel happy. That's self-hypnosis. So if every day you look in the mirror and you hate yourself and you're angry at yourself, you're angry at your body, you're angry at your husband, you're angry at your job, you're practicing bad hypnosis on yourself. And the bad thing is you're training your kids to be just as angered.
Right.
You're hurting yourself. You're spreading the ministry of anger everywhere you go. And by the way, I know you're justified, but the justification is the noose that hangs you and destroys everyone around you.
And you, right? Because we know pain, physical problems, all go into that too. Like your body is listening, right?
Yeah. Well, your body isn't. I mean, the truth is, a lot of people says my body makes me feel bad. I said, no, it doesn't. It's the brain making what's in your mind seem real. So the body is an innocent, honest expression of the information written on your brain. And so a lot of times we're dead up here. We don't know what's going on up here, but we feel it here and we think my body's making me feel bad. The body is an honest expression of memories stored inside the cortices. So you change the cortices, the body change. You know, it's like Sue LaRue, you know, she's had 19 orthopedic surgeries and she walks with a walker. And twice a week, she has to go to chiropractor and get her adjustments. And every week they go out. But when she started doing my work and changing memories, she doesn't need adjustments anymore. Her body stays in alignment because her emotions are in alignment. So this is how the brain actually works.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want a better life, it starts inside your mind.
Right. So tell us a little bit about how thoughts are produced from memories.
Thoughts are produced from memory. Okay. What do you mean exactly? Thoughts are produced from memories.
So like people say, I can't stop thinking about this, or I can't think positive, or I can't stop thinking about how angry I am. Or so how does the memory have an impact on those thoughts?
Well, again, there are several things about thoughts, or I say memories first. Memory, you know, of course, we have the mind. The mind is what we think with. That means we create our identity. We see the world from a mind, but the mind that we create is because of the information written on the brain. Now, the brain is just data. The mind is what we think with. So we will use our common thinking and we'll access memories in the brain. And then we assess that, or we give it a value, we give it identity, or we give it a personal explanation. Then we create our thoughts based on our experiences. All right. So, and sometimes, like if you go to a training, whether it's a church training or some philosophy training or something, and they're going to train you to think logically or to assess what's written on the brain cells, which gives it an angle of thinking. That doesn't mean it's correct, but it is based on an angle of thinking. Like a lot of things says, well, the reason why you have problems is you blocked energy. Or the reason why you have problems is because of X, Y, or Z. And that's not really true. The reason why you have problems is because you're skillful and talented and you're using the information written on the cortices to create an undesirable outcome you call a problem. But in my world, it's a great success because of the information that's written in your brain. So our thoughts are using the information on the brain and our trainings or assessments of why it's there. You know, like I have people like, you know, people will come into my system. And of course, it's a flip flop from what they were taught to why we have problems. You know, we point outward. The reason why I'm screwed up is because of my childhood. And I say, it's not because of your childhood. It's because of how you encoded your childhood. Because, you know, we have 5 kids, they have the same dad, same basic experiences, and yet they say and talk about the person 5 different ways.
Right.
Because of how we encoded it, how we represented it, and how we hold it. So anger is the same way. You know, why would one child be anger and the others aren't? Because that child's jealous because you got more attention, or they felt, you know, not important, or whatever that is, because of their own information. So their thoughts are generated by assessments of what's written in their mind, or what they've been trained to see things.
Interesting. All right. So we talked a little bit about how memories influence our anger. And so from that point, you talked a little bit about how to change the memory. What is the best technique for somebody that's dealing with anger? Because anger so at first we might choose anger, or we might be like, it's okay to be angry about this, or, you know, they have a good justification. But then it feels like, this is what angry people say, it feels like anger takes them over.
Yeah. Well, again, it's not like people going, I'm going to choose to be angry. Anger overtakes them. All right. The anger is an unconscious program based on our experiences, ideas, and belief systems that we created and generated. And you act from it without thinking. It's a bad hypnotic trance. And you've watched it, you witnessed this, and you experienced it with other people.
Yep.
All right. So again, it's logically, we beat ourselves up because we shouldn't act that way. But unconsciously, we act that way because we've been trained and have experiences to support the action.
Right.
So the only way, again, is to change that is to go to those memories and experiences. And when I say make peace with those, that means change those and rewrite those, diffuse the emotions. Now, the reason why, now here's when I work with people angry, if I get rid of this anger, they get off scot-free. I said, no, they don't. You get off scot-free because you're the one who holds the anger. They could be cold 6 feet under the ground and you're still angry because you are doing anger to you.
Right. And you said that we hang ourselves with our own noose,
Our own rope. Yeah. Our own thinking.
Rope. Right. And so what is one way to help people just get a skill? Like what skill would you say is something that can help them put disrupt that anger that happens when they're not trying to be angry?
Well, I mean, if I say the smart thing is know how to understand how your brain works.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people are so ignorant about they can use their car better than use their thinking. Right, you know, right. They know how to change the tire. Well, some people do better than they can change a memory. So if what people need to do is like the sages and all the spiritual teachers all around the world, know thyself, know yourself. Now, not just your name and your birth certificate, not the address, but know how your brain is doing it to you. Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is learn how the mental mechanics inside your mind and how your brain is using memories and how to go and change them. You know, I use many processes to create internal shifts and changes. We use a psychosensory process. It's called tapping, eutaptics, FasterEFT. But if I had people write me and said, I've been tapping all day long and nothing's working. Or they say, I've been using FasterEFT, is nothing working. I said, well, you're not using FasterEFT because FasterEFT is not a tapping system. It's a understanding how the brain works. Go in and change memories. Do this, you get this, and the results will be great. Right. So what you as an individual who wants something better, you've got to know how your mind works and how to change that from inside yourself. You know, granted, I can teach you how to tap and it could relax you if you're aiming at the right thing. If it's too big, too complex, it may not work because you don't know what you're doing. But understanding how your brain creates images in your mind, it has movies in your mind, it creates sensations in your body or emotions in your body. It has auditory, it sounds of your mother or sounds of yourself inside yourself, and smells and tastes all could trigger a kinesthetic angry response based on the information written on the cortices from your childhood life all the way up to now experiences. So if you want a better life, learn how to change memory, know how your brain works. I mean, you have an amazing story. If you know how to change memories, you can change physical pains. You know how to change, you can improve your relationships, you can improve your health. You know how many people will come to this with severe, real, documented, blood-tested, blood-proven diseases, blood-tested, proven, gone. Mm-hmm. And even like your story with your knee pain.
Yep.
You know, you had a real knee pain, you're going to go in surgery, you change memories related to probably relationships, I don't know what it was, and I guarantee you that your body changed and your life changed.
Right. It was incredible. And so surprising to me that it is the memory, but it makes so much sense because when we react and we're not thinking, like my thought was always, where does this come from? Like I was always questioning, how come I just did that? You know, like what would make me do this when I'm not like that, or I'm not thinking this way, or, you know, and finding those memories that are key to my programmed behavior, which was, you know, exactly the sensations and the visual of what I had seen as a child. Not that I wanted to be that way, but because it was just a program, an automatic response.
It's a learned experience, learned programmed experiences from your past.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I mean, I know my system is not a religious system. It could be considered spiritual. My personal trainings and my personal experiences is Christianity. And, you know, it's interesting what Jesus had said, something like this: let the dead bury the dead. Mm-hmm. Now, what does that mean? People do the same thing that's always been done. They repeat the same bad pattern. They feel the same bad feelings. They're just as pissed off or angered as their parents, and they continue to repeat a pattern that destroys them. And you know, we've got to learn how to know yourself, update yourself, and improve the quality of yourself. And what you change here, you affect your children. I mean, you definitely have an amazing story, how you know, your husband and your children, your daughters, and, you know, and how it's improved their life because of you.
Exactly. There's nothing, as a mom, I wouldn't suggest anything else but learning this, because if you know how to help your kids, then you're so empowered to know that, well, you can live a guilt-free life as a mom. Like, you can actually start to enjoy your kids and not just be feeling so guilty about the incidences that happen in their life. Like, I should have been there for them. I should have done, you know, you can't be, but can you help them adjust and become resilient and totally change their life because you know how to do it, because you're doing it for yourself? Yes. And it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, you've got to learn to know you.
Yeah.
Update you.
Yep.
Your kids are watching you. You know, it's like somebody said, I just hate myself when I act this way, but I don't know how to act any other way.
Right.
It just kicks in and I just do it. And then afterwards I beat myself up.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to change this. It's so harming. And the sad thing is, it will destroy your life in the end.
Yeah.
It speeds up death. It hurts everyone around, and it doesn't fix anything.
Right. And the shame becomes a cycle too, right? So you do something, you feel bad about it, and then your brain focuses on that. We know about the reticular activation system, and then we repeat it, and it even takes on more power. So, so many good things here. I just love when you say everyone in your mind is you. And I hope that everybody understood that. That means when you replay a memory, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your abuser, they are in your head. They don't fit in there, like you said. So notice your responsibility in that replaying part of it, right?
Yes, it's like we create, it's almost, you know, our brains have this capacity to organize things. And so when we think of Tammy, or we think of mom, we think of dad, our brain has connected all these experiences with them. And when we think of Tammy, we think of mom, we internally create it's like an entity of mom. We created an identity, a value system based on mom. And from that, it's actually ourselves, because we're generating and creating it, and we're using this against ourselves. But once you work on your relationship with that person in your life, that whoever it is, and you change how you represent it inside yourself, they change in your mind, and you may even recognize that the person you thought they were are not them, because this thing you create about them has filtered and blocked out who they really are today.
Yes.
So you've got to really update that, you know.
And that I think that's the most powerful technique that I learned, is ultimate forgiveness. I really do, because I didn't know how to forgive, but once I did know how, and it was just the way I saw it, the way I heard it, the way I felt it, and I could update that and change it and make inner peace, then all of a sudden I had a totally different response to that person. Someone could say their name, I could walk in the room and they'd be there. None of it brought up that instant, you know, hate and anger and rage and justification for hurting myself.
Yeah. So a lot of people, you know, they have the idea of forgiveness. I need to forgive Tammy, right? So I need to go forgive dad, or need to go forgive whoever. But the problem is, that's not ultimate forgiveness. That's you think you need to forgive them, and that's not the case. And if you go to say, like Tammy, she's my sister and she's mean, you know, and I want to go forgive Tammy, and Tammy goes, screw you, I hate you. Now what are you going to do? You got another problem.
Their fault.
So, but ultimate forgiveness, guys, pay attention. Ultimate forgiveness is going inside your mind and changing all the memories, make peace of the memories, releasing the hurtful memories for all the reasons you need to forgive them. It sets you free. Because again, I can forgive someone outside of me, but I don't change the memories of why I wanted to forgive them. I'm still drinking a poison that's eating and rotting away at myself.
Exactly.
So ultimate forgiveness is changing all unpleasant memories about someone else and about yourself It is about you. And when you set yourself free from it, you're free. They may still have their problems, but
Yeah,
that's not your problem. Your problem is that you're holding a gun against your own head and being angry all by yourself in the room in which you think about them. It's still
exactly.
you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's the most powerful thing for effortlessly changing your behavior towards somebody.
Yeah. It's how many times I've had this happen where I'm working with somebody. I'll use you, Tammy, as an example. So Tammy, she had a brother that she couldn't stand. I mean, he was so mean and traumatizing and all this stuff. Hadn't talked to him in 20 years. So I'm just working on Tammy and how she represents her brother. Do you have a brother?
I do.
Okay. I didn't know.
Not living right now, but not living on earth.
Yeah, that's okay. So here it is. You go, and so we address brother. And in her mind, it was anger and rage to her brother. And when we're done, she sends love and peace to her brother.
Exactly.
And then the weirdest thing ever happens. Her brother writes her on the phone, writes her,
so
sends an
many
email,
times.
get a phone call.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my practitioners, she was sexually abused by a brother. And she moved to a different continent. And, he always said, I'm going to come and visit, never did. And so I did a session on her and I cleaned up all the abuse and all this stuff. And so her brother calls and he says, I'm going to come and see you. She says, okay, sure. She thought, he ain't going to come. Well,
Right.
He comes and they travel all around Australia. They had a great time and all this stuff. And they pulled into the driveway and it was really quiet. And she looked over at him. He was crying. He goes, she goes, what's wrong? She says, I hadn't seen you laugh since you was a child. And she reached over and tapped him on the leg and said, listen, those painful days are over. I'm free. And when she went in the house, she came in and wrote me a testimony. She said, I would have never believed the impact in what you did for me those 2 hours, but so much has changed in my life. And so it is imperative to clean up the hurts and pains. And I'll finish with another story. Of course, I do a lot of private sessions and this woman's been seeing me many times and she comes in, she happens to bring her friend with her. And her friend said in the middle of the session, why don't you do the big one? And she goes, and she starts crying. No, I can't do the big one. I said, listen, you don't have to tell me anything about it. You could just do it in your mind and I'll help you with it. So I started working and cleaning this memory. And by the time we're done, she couldn't even say what it was. It was so impactful, so strong. And when I got done, she said, when I was 17 years old, I got pregnant. They put me in a home. And I had a little girl and they took that baby away. Now that was the most strongest painful thing. She says, I'm okay. Because she never could talk about it. There was a deep, dark family secret.
Yeah.
They took her away. And next session she came in, she had a smile from ear to ear. She said, you won't believe this. My baby was looking for me.
Oh.
She says, I'm moving. I'm going to Louisiana where my baby is about to have a baby. Now, by the way, she never had a child except for that one. She never got married because of the trauma of that one experience. And now she moved to Louisiana to be with her baby and grandbaby, something she would never talk about. She had never mentioned to anybody. It was the deep, dark secret. But once you set yourself free from that, the world opens up to something better.
Oh, I've had it happen with clients. I've had it happen with myself. It's just amazing how when we make peace inside ourselves, we do the ultimate forgiveness, which is so incredible. Then somehow, some way, the world comes together for us, right? And things change and we react differently. And I just want to say that, you guys are worth it. All right. So just know that if you're angry because someone hurt you, when you do that to yourself, you're devaluing yourself and you're worth healing yourself. You're worth healing all of your traumas and all your memories and all of your pain so that you can have the best life and create a legacy, right? Create a legacy that your life meant something more than just bitterness and anger and rage and hurt.
Yeah, it is amazing. We've been doing, every month we do tap alongs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And last night we had this amazing, this woman at 10 years old, she went to the doctor and they put like a long tube into her urethra. And it was such an emotional trauma. I mean, it's like 40 years ago and she's just
Yeah.
a severe trauma. And by the time we got done, it was gone. It was massive. And we did it within 20, 30 minutes of something that's been dragging and tormenting her whole life. And we
Yeah.
cleaned this up. People need a way to have something better. You know, the angers, the hurts, the emotional traumas. It's time to be free, really.
Right.
And so, you know, as you know, Tammy has, you know, went to my training. She's an upper level practitioner. She helps people. And, you know, one of the courses that she started with was You Can Change Yourself.
Mhm.
One of the biggest problems I see with people, they don't know how to change themselves. They don't know how to get something better because they still believe the past is real. They still believe everything inside their head. It still torments them. But as Tammy says, you have a daily skill to clean yourself up, to keep moving forward, to let things go when things are bad and not suffer anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's a powerful system that works. We use it, and sometimes it just like you get all teary-eyed, like it feels like a miracle. And when you do that for yourself and you have that skill, and when your whole life changes, now you're not reacting in angry ways, now you're not feeling out of control, and you don't have that childish reaction anymore, because that's what it is. It's a memory. You act like, you act like a child. Then you really are free, and your relationships totally change, and you can connect and love and live the life that you deserve.
It's time for something better. I'm telling you.
It is. Yes. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all for watching, and just know that you're loved, you're worth it, and go in there and get those memories changed and let your life be transformed.
Yeah. Let me say one more thing. You're stuck with you. You might as well learn how to love you, like you from within you, because what you hold inside, you're going to do to yourself and you're going to do to other people. Today's the day to make a decision. It's time to love yourself, like yourself, be kind within yourself. Because to be honest with you, everywhere you go, you're there.
Right.
You're the one who signed up for this. You're the one who's always been there to make you go to the classes. You're the one that cried. You're the one that did the list. You're the one. So learn how to be your own best friend and love yourself, like yourself, and heal yourself. As Jesus said, physicians, go heal yourself. He's not talking about doctors. He's talking about you. Learn how to heal yourself by changing yourself. Your cells change every 7 years. Every cell in your body might as well change every one of those bad memories too.
Yes. Awesome. Well, that's a wrap.
See you. Thank you. Thank you,
all.
Tammy. Good job.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.